Hello and welcome to The Insider, a show designed to clue you into the biggest news, events and announcements inside the video games industry, discussing with you some things you may know, some things you may not, and glue holds it all together is a little bit of my own opinion. My name is Paul James, thank you very much for watching, and let's kick off this special series of E3 episodes.
Okay, baby, how you doing?
I've been good. You still recovering from that butt whooping?
Wow, already starting, okay.
So over the last week and a bit, you've been seeing me as I predicted each and every press conference from each of those key publishers that were going to be having one at E3 2018. Now the first one of those is Run and One, EA, courtesy of their EA Play 2018 presentation. And I'm going to discuss with you some of the takeaways, the good, the bad, and the ugly from that presentation. So let's check it out. So let's start by talking about the good things, the things that I loved about EA Play 2018. And there's one thing that I loved more than any other. And I'm of course talking about Anthem. Anthem is looking fantastic. EA kept us on a string the entire conference, knowing that that was the game that was most anticipated, the one we all most wanted to see, and they saved it for last in the presentation. But when they did, it was actually a really interesting perspective. We didn't see a guy coming out there in a big Anthem shirt saying, using buzz terms to try and win us over. We saw a very introspective, very reflective, very real conversation going on between the EA Play host, Andrea Rene, and then developers from BioWare, and they sat down, they asked questions, and whilst it was very scripted, the Q&A between the parties there was really interesting. The fact that they engaged in what the people in the world, Twitter people had submitted questions. They responded to some of those. And then of course they showed off some gameplay, they gave us a new trailer, they gave us a February 22nd release date, and things were looking really cool.
Something is out there. It wants to destroy us all.
Another thing that really impressed me was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, the new Star Wars game from Respawn, the one that we saw teased about 2 years ago with this kind of behind the scenes thing where we saw lightsabers being flung around and whatnot. We didn't see a trailer from this game. We just got a bit of info from Vince Zampella, who was sitting in the crowd. Andrea went out and spoke to him, and we got a little bit of information about how the game's going to play, the fact that we're going to be playing as Jedi, the fact that it is set between the third and the fourth film, the fact that it is going to be coming out at the end of 2019. Like I said, we didn't see any footage, we didn't get a trailer or anything like that, but we got some cool insights about the game, and it means that this time next year, really, we have to expect that EA is going to blow the doors open on the game, because there's so much we need to know ahead of a release date that will at that point be only a few months away. It's got me really excited, and I'm keen to see more.
So the Star Wars name is Jedi Fallen Order.
Woo! So Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, so it kind of gives you some idea that you'll be playing a Jedi.
So does that mean I get to like hold a lightsaber?
Yes.
So Vince, you got anything else?
Well, it takes place during the Dark Times. Trying to be a little vague here, but when the Jedis are being hunted, so it's going to be spectacular.
Continuing the Star Wars trend, we have to talk about Battlefront 2, which released last year and copped a lot of flack for very good reason. But EA came out, DICE came out, and were really reflective on the whole thing, spoke about the lessons they've learned, spoken about the changes they want to make, and then got really future focused and said, we're rolling all this stuff out for you, having learnt the lessons that we needed to learn. Chief among those things is the fact that the next round of DLC is going to be focused on the Clone Wars. So that period of time between episodes 2 and 3, where we see characters like General Grievous, Anakin Skywalker, younger Obi-Wan Kenobi, Count Dooku, maybe Ahsoka, who knows who else we're going to be seeing. It's a really interesting period within the Star Wars canon, and it looks like Battlefront is really going to lead into that going forward. They then also spoke about Battlefield. They in fact opened with Battlefield, or Battlefield 5, and whilst we didn't see a huge amount, there's going to be more shown at the Xbox conference tomorrow. We did learn that there's going to be a Battle Royale mode included. The very first announcement of E3 was, of course, it had to be a Battle Royale announcement. But there's going to be a Battle Royale mode in the new Battlefield 5. And then we saw a little trailer that kind of showed off, gave us it was another tone piece. We didn't learn a huge amount about the game. It's what you'd probably expect from Battlefield, but they're doing some cool things.
Fuck it! Hello, old friend.
And the final thing to focus on is the EA Originals presence. EA Originals are kind of their independent studios that they've been fostering over recent years, and that's seen the release of the likes of Faye, A Way Out, and originally the game that kicked it all off, Unravel. We saw 2 games announced this year. The first of those was in fact Unravel 2. I think most had speculated there was going to be a follow-up to the Unravel game of a few years ago, but I don't think anyone expected it to be one of those and you can buy it now sort of titles. It's available on PSN. You're going to see, and Xbox Live and presumably other platforms as well, you're going to see a Player 2 plays of that on the Player 2 channel later today, so make sure to go and check that out. But it's one of those really cool little drops that EA's done there. It looks fantastic. It's including some co-op features. You can still play solo if you wish, but it's more of that amazing charm that we kind of got from the Unravel game in the first place. You should look forward to it if you enjoyed the first. The second game that I want to talk about is Sea of Solitude, a game that really looks at the darker side of emotion, negativity, and it seems like the thoughts that are going through the player there impacts the world in some way. It was a weird sort of presentation. The girl who got up to present it was understandably very nervous, and it made it a little bit hard to follow exactly what was going on there, and it meant that the gameplay when they showed it didn't quite hit home like it should. But it seems like a really interesting concept and one that we need to check more out about.
Your queendom come. Your queendom come. My 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 queendom come.
Next, let's move on to the bad. Some of the things that weren't so great from this conference. The main thing that I think we need to talk about is, of course, how EA manages their time within these conferences. I was quite buoyed going into the conference that I saw that there was a half-hour pre-show beforehand, and we got a lot of FIFA, we got a lot of Madden, we got a lot of mobile, we got a lot of Sims, the things that tend to slow down an EA press conference, typically, and make it a really hard thing to watch. The problem was that despite that half-hour pre-show where we got a lot of talk about FIFA Ultimate Team, that we got a lot of sports-related stuff out of the way, and the Sims, and again, those things that hold it up, we still got a approximately 20-minute chunk out of a 60-minute presentation where there was a lot of stuff really slowing things down. We saw sports, we saw a Command and Conquer game, which I'll talk about shortly for all the wrong reasons, that really bogged things down, killed momentum, a wave of momentum they were really riding at the time. Things were looking quite good in that conference. I was quite happy. There was things that, could have been a little bit better, but overall the presentation was fantastic up to that point. And then at the half-hour mark, all of a sudden, sports, Command and Conquer, mobile, initiatives, PR talk, and it just brought everything to a screeching halt. Momentum was lost, and the conference struggled, despite what Anthem did at the end there, to pick itself back up as a result.
So, you were in their position? Would you let the moment define you? Or would you define the moment?
Finally, we're going to talk about the ugly side of EA Play 2018. And I think there's only one thing that we really need to talk about. Sports aren't great, but we kind of come to expect that. And yes, EA needs to improve how they structure their conferences going forward. But the thing that I think drove most people mad was the Command and Conquer Rivals reveal. Command and Conquer is a franchise that people love. It's a PC franchise that has got so many fans and has been so well loved for so many decades, but it's gone quiet. EA didn't give it the love that it perhaps deserved in recent years, and it had fallen by the wayside. Now it's back. It's coming courtesy of a game called Command & Conquer Rivals, but it's coming to mobile. And the problem with that is that what we saw, the way they demoed it, and you're going to see a little clip of it shortly, there's a lot of tap, 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 trying to, it was such a tried and true mobile experience that it looked like the core of what Command & Conquer is has been lost. I saw so many tweets during the time. I was watching it live and I was kind of tweeting along with it, and when that game got revealed, the bile that started getting thrown out on the internet, and not the hateful sort of negative stuff, but just such disappointment. So many hurt people courtesy of this game. It could be good for a mobile game, but it's not what fans of Command & Conquer want. EA, I hope you've got something up your sleeve to make this work, because it was the ugly part of this conference. So that concludes my wrap up of EA Play 2018 from E3 2018. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking, sharing and subscribing. All those buttons are down below here, and that'll allow you to get access to weekly episodes of Patched, the Video Games Club, The Insider, Player 2 Plays, The Late Game Review and much more. There's some awesome stuff there, so please make sure to go and check it out. For written content, make sure to visit the website player2.net.au, where you'll find reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news, features, the Player 2 Writers Draft and a whole lot more. There's some awesome content there contributed by some of the best talent in Australia, so please make sure to go and check it out, and make sure to bookmark our E3 Hub, where we've got more of these videos, more wrap-ups from each of the conferences, and heaps more. There's some awesome stuff there, so please make sure to go and check it out. For rolling updates, you can find me at PaulJamesP2 on Twitter. The website, you'll find a Player2AU on Twitter, and consider finding us on Patreon as well. Patreon.com/Player2AU. Consider kicking in a few dollars. At the lower tiers, you'll get early access to a whole range of different episodes of Patched, of The Insider, of Player 2 Plays. Early access is awesome. At some of the higher tiers, you'll get exclusive episodes that you can only have for the entire month, that no one else will ever get to see. And at the top tier, you can join us in the monthly Player 2 podcast. We'd love for your support. We'd love for you to help the Player 2 dream grow, so please consider checking it out. Now that is my EA Play summary review. Again, leave your comments down below, tell me what you think. Thank you very much for watching. We've got Microsoft and Bethesda tomorrow, so come back tomorrow and see what I have to say about them. I'll see you later.